the bad ones you got to hang your hat on as well. You got to remember, coming into this one, how important this series is for the expected outcomes of facing either IG or top esports. Very differing ladders in that kind of priority there. But already in the first phase and finishing the first phase, we got some particular bans. Mudo, Jace, Oriana coming away from NIP. It's going to be Nico, Vi, Jarvan there for WE. Looking at that first pick for WE on that blue side, it's going to be the Varus.
And that means NIP chose red side willingly. So we've seen a couple of these from them throughout the season. We saw the Rise was hovered there by Karis.
They hate blue side, by the way. They've only played 2 games on blue side.
That is also very true. They're 1-1 currently on blue side, so another red side game here for NIP. The Varus, a good champion for about. It's been something that he actually did get a player of the game earlier in the season, but I'm waiting to see if Cube is going to throw down the gauntlet and play this champion. It has been a flex. Again, a good takeaway from NIP, but getting the Rise, I think, for Care, and again, similar to the Azir in the last game, I think a very smart takeaway from the mid laner of WE.
And I gotta ask, because I think we've been seeing a huge stonk rising for Rise. I feel like he is just everything you want right now with the amount of scaling, the amount of health he can get, the amount of damage he can do, and now you're getting set up by a Jhin as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He has very few really terrible matchups, and he has strong 2 and 3 items, so not all that bad. We're going to maybe see a Rumble here for Cube. Not exactly what I wanted to see. I know I was just complaining about wanting to see a tank in the top lane, but he is a champion that you're almost always going to have to go up against. I still think you're fine giving over Rumble to get something like Cassante, but I will have to cry about it later. WE instead just going for strong team fighting ultimates. The Varus is going to give you range. The Rumble is going to give you range. Just don't allow for the enemy team to get next to you, which is technically matched by the Jhin, but
true.
We'll kind of see what this is going to end up being. Are we going to go for Monkey's champion, or are we going to look for support?
Gotta figure out what they want to leave going into that second phase of bans that NIP will be leveling to them. It's going to be the Talia locked in. Not something we've seen as much of lately, but I really still like it with the roaming capabilities out of mid lane, with the kind of joining of the bot lane we've seen a lot of times as well with that pick. It's going to be the Bard, a classic combo with Jhin, and a lot of peel ability for NIP.
All right, so what bot lane are we going to get from Yaoyao? The only range supports that we've seen from him are Nami and Karma, but no Nico to play against this early. It is also banned by WE, so I'll be honest, Len, and I think this Bard is absolutely a 1v9 machine in this game. I mean, no flash on any of these champions from WE, and the fight's kind of over. You immediately get collapsed upon, the Deadly Flourish to be able to land on top of that. The damage profile here from NIP is decent enough. You see the second phase of draft already. Again, a big focus on the junglers, getting rid of things like the Malphite. Jarvan was already taken away. Vi was taken away. So, I mean, you can go for another skirmisher. I think Pantheon is good enough here for Guwon, especially with the range that his team has. I just don't like what WE are showing, I'll be honest. And now you're asking for Monki to play either a tank that he doesn't have access to or something else.
Yeah. A little note as well. I mean, this Bard pick makes Bard the most picked champion by Zhuo so far the regular season, which, you know, I think might raise some question marks to some people at how good a Bard can be, but at what level are we at with Zhuo? And we'll have to see if he can put it up here with this one. But in this second phase, in these final picks for this second game, you got to think of what the remaining pieces of the puzzle are. It's got to be that jungle matchup for NIP and that top lane as Ambessa comes through.
I think this is incredibly smart here from NIP. The Ambessa is a flex for Guwon and for Hoya, and it's a takeaway from Monki, so just pinching pools. I think NIP have done a fantastic job so far of both countering their opponents in terms of champion playstyles and pinching the pool from their away from them. So really, really intelligent gameplay so far already just from the draft alone. Now, to note, this team is remarkably squishy outside of the Rise. So what tank are we going to get from Hoya? I'm expecting the Cassante. I think it has very good matchup spread against most of the champions that are here from WE. And while there's some strong engage tools with a Rakan and a Wukong, I am worried about the range that is here on this team. Outside of the Varus and the Rumble, this team is incredibly gated on their ability to move forward. The Ornn is going to come through.
That's huge.
That is a really big scaler. I mean, giving him the increased items, you're expected to go down early in this matchup. If I see an Arcane Comet from Cube, I'm going to scream. I'm going to lose my mind. I don't want to see these laning runes versus champion. Just take your first strike, take your cash back, and get your first items quicker. Come on, brother.
The first thing I see here when I'm looking at these drafts, though, is that a lot of the kind of weight or the ball, if you will, is in WE's court here, because you have serious scaling with this Ornn and the Rise on the side of NIP. And yes, more proactivity with the Ambessa, of course, but if they just kind of let them have their way, then things can go a little bit awry for WE.
I want to see WE making proactive plays. I need to see this bottom lane get up in the face. I mean, you're playing Rakan, you are playing the Varus. You have ways of playing this 2v2 early, even though Bard can be a bit of a bully in some matchups. So I need to see them do something, because as long as they're on the front foot, if they're the ones initiating plays with this Wukong and Talia, I think they're going to have a field day in this game. You have so many ways of disrupting and stopping a champion like Rise from running over this game. But if you trip and stumble in that mid game like we saw from them in Game 1 and throughout the regular season, you're going to get run over. I mean, again, 3-item Rise is a huge terror in the meta right now. Actualizer, Rod of Ages, Seraph's his champion, presses his active item, and suddenly he's getting 35% bonus damage for free from his items. So,
well, we're into it now. Series continues. An important one. Winner goes on to face IG. Loser goes on to face TES in the Knight's Road. Can WE pull us back? Game 2 now.
Lennon, it's there. It's there. I see an Arcane Comet
Don't
for
look.
Rumble.
Just hold your hand up. Just hold your hand up. You won't see it.
Why? Why? Like, we keep seeing this, and it's like, unless you can solo kill the Ornn, which is unrealistic in this matchup with D-Shield and just having Revitalize, how am I ever supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Just take your first strike and get your items. Like, just juice this guy for a free 300 gold in the first 10 minutes and call it a night. Like, we're using heal automatically for this 2v2. Great job from Zhuo to put damage down to Yaoyao. I mean, the level 1 can be tricky, but junglers are also pathing to the opposite sides, man.
So, something here, obviously I'm a little bit of a Jhin aficionado. At the competitive level, don't have any of that experience. But from what we've seen, like, the Varus in the lane feels pretty tough for the Jhin to deal with. I think unless you get something leaning your way, it can start feeling well, and you can have some of that pressure that we're seeing a little bit of here. But the lane itself is going to be pretty hard for some of that poke coming through for Jhin and not being able to trade back. But so far, they're trying to keep as much pressure down here as they can.
Yeah, just having the double range matchup is making it significantly easier for Assum and Zhuo to find success. Early vision placed by WE, spotted the Ambessa, so they know Guwon's going to be on this side of the map. In a minute and a half, I think this bottom lane should be looking to get their wave in a better spot. Currently, it is bouncing away from them, but depending on how they trade, depending on what the matchup looks like right now, they could try to equalize this and keep their under their turret. I think it's very difficult for NIP to go for dives with their setup here. So, also, quite cute. Not going to have a big impact in this game, but we do have Gumayushi's Varus skin versus Karia's Bard skin. So
mental damage.
I mean, mental damage, you say that. I mean, at least Karia is still in contention to go to an international this early on.
You just had to. Nice.
Look, I have to find something, okay, man? They keep beating us at international.
They keep beating us.
Yeah.
Make it stop.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes I go into the comments when I'm not on the show, and it is crazy what some of these people are typing about LPL.
Nice.
I just...
Nice.
All right.
I love to see it. All right, let's get back to the game and now talk about those crazy comments. We are getting our first connection of the support jungle duos, at least here for NIP. It is going to be the mid jungle that W were looking to combine to, but here comes a little bit of a gank down towards the bot side. The magical journey is going to be a magical one for NIP. Double grand entrance comes through, and the back got completed from Assum, so he wasn't even there.
Okay, so the theory here, and we didn't touch on this early on because there was the cube incident going on. Varus does have teleport in this lane, and so Jhin got his recall in. This is supposed to equalize the bottom lane matchup. I know it looks a little bit strange with him being able to finalize that recall, but it lets Assum stay in the lane and not get trapped by this teleport. And now with double healing from the shrines from Zhuo, it means that hopefully he can find a recall, or at the very least you're just doing well by your bottom lane. So I think it was actually really intelligent from the jungle and support of NIP. Does also let him get back to his camps, as we see Guwon is already back onto the respawn of his Krugs, going to his Raptors, which does have yet another ward on it. So they will have timers on that, and they'll know where this Mbessa is.
I like it. And as you see there, the carry a Bard. The combo no longer together. The yin and the yang there in the bot lane right now. As we will get the resets coming in from both supports. Should get back out onto the map. And start seeing some proactive plays from these junglers. I know we said it's mostly up to WE. And we will have that dragon coming up in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, right now, you're doing fine in mid lane. Care has not even hit a recall yet, so doesn't have his tier. Something we usually see, probably going to be looking for it within the next moment or two. Whether or not it's on this mid wave or not is up to him. But we do have bottom side Scuttle spawning soon. A big piece of content that has been almost taking over the airwaves here on the LPL English, just talking about the jungle tech to try to get your upgraded smite at 530. We'll be seeing our junglers on opposite sides yet again, though. And Wukong will have to make a straight beeline to this if he wants to get here in time. And Bessa's already going to be moving into the bottom side jungle. And looks for now like NIP will be maintaining priority in this lane. Again, just this Bard is so easy to move around with.
Yeah, it is. I do think things, you know, can lean the way of Yaoyao and about if they can get a nice combo off, but obviously just taking things slowly as of yet, and might just be the case for the foreseeable future.
Ooh, Karis
a little bit of connection there. Yeah, exactly.
Karis can Realm Warp over for this play and make this a very good fight. Karis would have to use his ultimate. Here's the Realm Warp, but About is out. Yeah, they use the heal.
They're trying to pincer here, but they don't really have much of an angle, and the armored front for WE has shown up. Karis will have the Weaver's Wall if he wants to cut anybody off.
Oh, no.
Seismic Shove connects onto Guwon, and Guwon's in a lot of hurt now. Here comes Assum to try to layer in some CC. It's going to be NIP that get out licking their wounds here.
Not enough crowd control early on, right? There's not an Alistar, there's not a Rel or a Leona. So without their ultimates, this bottom lane from NIP is a little softer to engage. And we saw the upfront damage there from WE. Awesome.
Nice sidestep from Assum there. As, he's got to be a little careful now. The Hail of Arrows not enough to take him down.
Upgraded Smite and the Dragon going over to WE. This is the advantage we wanted to see from them. Great play being able to counter that initiation onto the bottom side Scuttle. And now WE should be leading themselves with a great gold lead as well. Teleport here from Zhuo is going to get him back, but it should be a turret play going over to About. We're opening up a pretty solid lead here, something we don't usually talk about this early on for Team WE.
What are you trying to say? No, you're right. I think we had seen some great moments. That's what we talked about coming into the series, you know, kind of layering in some of the historical facts of WE where they are sitting at a battle for the top of this group, and there's a reason for that. Some of those combinations we started seeing from this team, specifically not even just about Monki, right? I know we came into this talking about so much, and there still is the possibility for him to kind of earn those stripes, and if we can, go ahead and bring up that L3 about him, because I think it is important to highlight this guy. You can obviously get your all-pro votes in there with that QR code, but he needs to have a better game than he had in game number 1, as Karis going to be fine.
Yeah, About has been really exciting to watch. I thought that the trade for Taeyun to bring About in as the Gen G's Academy AD carry was really exciting. While his floor might have been a little bit lower, especially coming over, I think that the ceiling on this guy is incredible, and we've seen glimpses of it so far this season. Unfortunately, they've been overshadowed by a lot of WE's other issues that are going on, particularly in jungle. So I'm really excited. I think that if there's a future for this Team WE roster, it is around this really, really exciting prospect. So we'll see. He's on Varus, you know, the most picked champion currently and the highest priority and win rate AD carry on this patch and the last patch and the patch before that and the last 7 to 12 of them before those. So if there's ever a champion you're going to get a free win on, I do think it is going to be Varus.
And of course, as is tradition for the LPL, we got to go to 3 games. So
no, that's not
WE.
tradition.
Realm Warp coming in, NIP want to make a play. They've got a double, but it's going to be the public execution used to buffer it, and Yaoyao goes down. The PX emote comes out from Care with a throwback.
I love that. That was really beautiful. Now, Monki did get all 3 grubs. And with him... Oh, no, he's doing it again. Oh, Monki's doing Profane Hydra Wukong again.
Nice.
Oh, God. Okay,
It's
well...
the Monki way.
Yeah, he'll have a lot of damage, but he will not have the survivability that a Sundered Sky or a Trinity Force. Yaoyao is going to help teleport forward. They got some gold in the meantime to equalize what was going on in the bottom side, but yeah, we'll touch on this a little bit later as he finishes this item. So, WE, man, this is a very tricky game for them to play. I like that they have got the first dragon. They got the first 3 grubs. Let's continue to cash in on some of these overgrowth on the plates.
We'll say, kind of synchronized swimming back there from NIP. 4 members back. Hoya unfortunately wasn't able to, and now he will pay the price. Can't get the ulti off. Monki going to take a couple extra shots, but he'll be fine. Here comes Guwon, though. Oh, he doesn't have public execution. He's just going to clear the wave.
Feels good as a jungler, and just picked up a whole minion wave, at least in terms of experience. Feels good, man. And he's got his raptors he can take. He'll be level 8. You can see that currently Zhuo is making a path towards the top side. They are in complete control of the vision on the bottom side jungle here.
Yeah, look at that ward spread. Holy.
Yeah. Karis has to pay a lot of respect because he doesn't know if there's going to be a bard suddenly popping up underneath his turret with him on the magical journey. Dragon spawns in a minute and a half, Len, and what I'm going to be kind of excited to watch is whether or not WE will be able to contest. Awesome. Great fancy feat there.
You can continue, my liege. I'm sorry, that was just a nasty sidestep on a Jit. I had to make, you know.
I get it. I completely. And look at this timer. This is good play from NIP. This is what I appreciate here from NIP and specifically from Guwon. I mean, he's going in. He has the timer on the enemy Raptors. He took his own Raptors at the same time. So he's just going to start to generate a little bit of a lead here. Even though it was Monki who did get first blood, that is essentially all of the gold lead that he has over his opponent.
Still hovering over about 1,000 gold lead for WE. It's going to feel much better than the kind of up or down position they were in themselves last game. Hoya getting burnt to a crisp up here for the Forge God. Don't feel like that's normal. But hey, I guess lore aside, Cube is cooking right now in this top lane.
There's also top lane quest being done here for Hoya. Okay, that's going to hit the minion wave. This is actually really smart because the Ornn pillar is going to change the pathing of the minions. Cube does still end up grabbing this. He's probably still going to grab this turret plate. Now I'm looking at bottom side. I don't care what's happening up here, guys. I promise it's just Ornn versus Rumble. We can look at the bottom lane right now. All the vision still in control, but WE were able to get some pretty decent wards down, both in the river and with one flank ward behind them. So can they execute on this dragon? And they still have this Profane Hydra being completed by Monki.
That's what I was just about to say, is all of WE are redeploying out from base after backing into the map with items completed. Profane with the Yumus, and we also have that Archangels getting started here for Karis. There will be item completions on the side of NIP, but they are nowhere near this side of the map. And with that lack of pressure, WE step in to take it all.
Guwon was looking for a recall afterwards, so seems like also Care did get a basin, gets his Rod of Ages, a very big spike for them. If they can, you know, just wait another 10 minutes here, an additional level. Getting it this late does mean that he'll probably hit level 15 with this item. We'll see how much gold and experience he's able to funnel into himself alongside his team. Decent enough trade. WE find themselves with 2 dragons. It's a good start, exactly what we wanted to. Oh, no fancy feed here, brother.
That time, but Tempered Fate there from Zhuo with some excellent Bard gameplay, and it's actually Yaoyao who has to run away, open him up, and see what you find. See Yaoyao dashing away. The fourth shot, not enough.
Wow, that ultimate from Zhuo saves a lot of HP there for Assum. Now, what does this mean? Because in the grand scheme of things, Assum taking a little bit of his HP loss, not all that important, but maybe could have forced About to get away even, or force, especially with Monki in the area. Not having that ultimate, though, we're going to have Herald spawning in a minute and a half. And I need to see WE get back out on the map a little bit quicker. You saw that Yaoyao took his recall first. It's now going to be him moving alongside Monki to get some vision. It looks like they want to make a play onto the enemy blue buff, but I mean, it's already gone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough position to be in. NIP now caught a little bit. There's the Weaver's Wall coming across from Karis. Care should escape. Guwon tries to use the public execution to find his own distance. He's going to try to turn it back around. Deadly Flourish is going to connect, and Guwon is going ham. Guwon is just spinning to win like a Beyblade ripping, as it's going to be an IP finding big money on the bot side.
They need to play aggressive when you have this Profane Hydra Wukong, but, I mean, Karis, honestly, he goes in with the Weaver's Wall, and he puts no damage down. He misses the flick, and he loses that flash right before this fight. Incredible picture-in-picture there from our observers. So, they lose out huge. Lennon, the goal completely swung away.
It's the same thing. It's literally what happened to game number 1.
And we just threw a very big lead for ourselves. We gave gold over to this Rise. We'll take a look at this again. I mean, Rod of Ages, all of this HP he just got from this basically saved him in this play. If he doesn't have Rod of Ages, he's dead here. Karis right here, man. No flick. The movement speed from the Rise gets him to safety. Assum is already here. Look at where Varus is. Look where about is currently. We are not fighting with our AD carry. This is a very, very similar situation to game number 1, where Monki calls for an aggressive invade and completely backfires.
That one is going to sting, especially with this build on the Wukong. And being a little bit more centered on damage, as Care is going to be found at least. Again, he's going to burn. The flash still comes out from Cube just to make sure, but Monki will claim that kill.
Okay, so we'll get first turn on top side. We'll also get the Herald. It's a decent enough purchase. They needed to find a kill. If they were not able to grab it after almost killing him on the last play, this game's all but cooked. See that NIP are currently looking to contest, but does Hoya opt for a teleport into this play? Cube would have to match, and it'd be a pretty bad timer for him. Karis can also very easily answer his Weaver's Wall coming up in a few minutes, or a few seconds here.
That should be first turret going the way of WE as well, so chunking back that gold lead a little bit. And these objectives are going to start mattering. And you have 3 grubs with the Rift Herald now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big play later on as Cube goes ahead and takes the fight against Hoya. Assum comes down. Deadly Flourish connects. Equalizer is going to be used, but Assum has arrived to come pick up the kill at the last second.
And he'll grab the turret. What a great donation. I got to say, Mazel, if this was last season, WE would be massively in the lead right now. They got all the 3 of the first objectives with 2 dragons, the 3 grubs, and they've also got the first blood and the first turret. That would be feats of strength immediately for them if this was 2025. So in a prior season, we would be saying this team is at an advantage state here in this game with how it's been looking. I'm thinking now WE are reliant on the dragons, and I mean, this is an Infernal Drake. That is as good as it's going to get for this team with how much damage that is packed in.
And looking at that gold, I love that they bring up the gold graph because Jin up almost 1,000 on the next highest in the game right now. 2 items already completed. He's going not necessarily with the most damage here, but the utility is what has been super key so far. That's what Assum has been doing this entire game. That's what every good Jin does, is set up for the rest of the team and pick off kills where you can. Been doing a really good job in a series, in a matchup where we wanted to talk about so much. And it's going to be Assum that takes that spotlight.
Everything is happening against about, you know? Like
it really is.
The bottom side invade wasn't for him. A lot of the fights on the Yunara last game wasn't for him. It was around his jungler. I feel bad for the guy, man. Like, he got roped in. He's like, okay, I'm going on to a pretty decent LPL team, at least in terms of the middle of the pack. And then it's Monkeys just saying, nope, we're playing for my objective. I'm the jungler. I'm the GOAT here. No ultimate landed there from Zhuo. This is right before the dragon. Herald also is going to give WE priority. This will be a soul point for them.
Chains of Corruption connect that time right onto Care, and Care has no way out of it. It's going to be the Rift Herald play that NIP have to focus on, and now WE, even though Yaoyao is a little bit low on the health bar, a little bit of a wonky ult there, but it's fine. Oh, dodging out with the public execution as well, and NIP just can't hit their hits. That's going to be Dragon number 3 to WE.
All right, everybody from NIP are going to wish that we had the last probably 15 seconds back. And honestly,
agreed.
I'm going to reclaim our time for both us and the audience at home. We're going to reclaim our time. We're going to pretend like that didn't just happen. WE talked about it just right before this objective fell. Soul point for them. They are so reliant on these dragons now because they are the team that we talked about does not have as much scaling or as many resources that are going to be able to access. I don't really see the point of having replay. We just saw this play, and there wasn't really much to it. It's a great ult from Bout. Perfect from us. Great casting from us, Lennon. Pat ourselves on the back. A fight happened where the Varus was there, and we won!
Hey, look at that. And that equalizer was actually pretty nice from Cube. Kind of blocking off in those choke points. But, hey, we're getting a little bit later on in the objectives now. Obviously, we have Baron coming up. I don't think either team is really going to be threatening that objective for the foreseeable future itself. But that next dragon is what we're looking at. So I want to take a little bit of a step back and take a look at these comps, because something we talked about from the draft is some of the scaling opposition that NIP have against WE, and some of the things that come along once they get to those 3-4 items. And WE have done a good job of kind of keeping themselves in tempo, but this next fight is going to be extremely important. And I think, is either team looking for a pick ahead of time?
I mean, if you could find it, that's great. Hoya's going to be a little bit annoying versus this Wukong. He needs to be careful, though, because he's going to get dropped right in front of Cube. Cube, they can look for something. I mean, Kara's Realm Warp.
Yeah, Realm Warp going to come in. Equalizer's used right on the Realm Warp, but everything thrown right at Cube, and he's down.
That's going to be a really big pick. Again, think about the scaling on this team. Ryze is currently 7 stacks on his Rod of Ages. 3 more minutes, and that is going to be completed. Seraph's Embrace is now done for him as well. 2 items for this Mbessa. Massive for them. NIP have maintained a very small goal lead for most of this game. But I think the Dragon Soul is going to be a really big talking point for us. Finally, they'll grab this mid-tier 1. Kind of answering your question here, it's fine for WE. I am still worried about their damage profile, because even with an Infernal Drake, I'm looking at items and they just don't have the a massive amount of DPS or consistent damage. They have huge pick potential in these games, but they need for it to land. And both teams don't have the most sturdy or the most reliable amount of engage. The things that I'm looking at is obviously anything that is like from Yaoyao with this Grand Entrance and the quickness, or Care, who has a point-and-click ultimate or point-and-click route. But aside from that, we really need to get into these 5v5s. That is where I think WE is going to find a lot of success.
And I do think we're going to be a little short on those third items for everybody really coming into these next fights. And so something to kind of think about moving forward there. But it's just going to be calm and steady as she wrote. And you got to remember again, Alex, like, this is, while a funny last little bit of LPL regular season, an important series for who these teams are going to be facing in that Knights Rivals tournament.
It's so important. I mean, just winning this game is obviously great for WE because they keep their hopes alive of being able to get first seed. But I think having to play versus IG is such a boon. They are the weakest Group Ascend team by far, not just in record, but just from eye test. And that is a single best of 5 away from getting into Group Ascend. We can talk about playoffs and whether or not they'll actually have a decent shot there. The most important thing for these teams is looking at Split 2, getting access to better scrims, getting access to better teams, even as potentially one of the lower-end teams going in.
It's all about the climb up the ladder. And speaking of, we've climbed our way straight to a pick potential. WE getting caught out. Perfect execution going to be used. Guwon can't get the kill there in the end, but the 4th shot's not going to be able to ring true.
Oh.
TP came in. Cube is way overextended.
What
Cube
is he
going
doing?
to go down for a second time in a row, and all of a sudden NIP take full control, gripping it straight out of WE's hands, going for the long distance play with the Realm Warp. It's going to be the quickness straight to his death. All of WE are gone, and it's just WE and Karis alive.
Hey, I think the observers were maybe Team WE favored there. They got a little bit dizzy on that dive in between the turrets. They didn't even finish this tier 1. NIP, they've looked like the more consistent team throughout the split and just execute so beautifully on this fight. Monki and About, a little too far up in my opinion. Great use. We talked about this Bard. If you do not have Flash, you're going to get picked. And in this instance, there's a great engage coming in thanks to Zhuo setting this up. Guwon lands the public execution and a deadly flourish from Assum. And then Cube, man, you don't have the HP bar, even with the upgraded teleport. So they get so much gold, a turret plate, 3 kills, flashes galore. We talked about this dragon being important. NIP are already on this objective, and now WE have to face check into this team.
The dragon is gone. The soul stacking has been halted as NIP are able to put a little bit of stock gap measure into that. WE still looking to claim some prizes here on the back end of this play as the pressure comes through. There's going to be some plates in the mid lane for them, using these 3 grubs really well. Temper Fate, perfect time, but I think he's going to die anyways. They fully commit right in the mid lane and give NIP a little bit of their taste of their own medicine.
I don't care right now. Ryze is splitting at the same time. This is going to be a very funny Weaver's Wall. A shot goes out from Assum, but these are pity prizes right now. We are getting some gold, and it's onto a kill onto Zhuo. Who cares? My Ryze is splitting. He's getting gold for himself. He's level 16 already now. So he is completely scaled up. And then he gets the equalizer. It's kind of like the Ezreal build we were talking about earlier. You know, we're getting every single item feels like Christmas.
And I gotta say, just a little bit of state of the play here is ornaments are coming online, Alk. We have already started getting to that point, and that is when the clock starts ticking for WE, as we said in the draft.
Oh no, I'm very scared now.
Yeah. He unfortunately though, I don't know if this is normal. I feel like IE would be better, but he got his Yumu's upgraded for Assum.
Oh. Yeah, that is maybe, you know, just us being a little bit lazy. Remember, guys, every Ornn item upgrade will give you about 1,000 gold, but there are some items that are better because they only upgrade in a single stat. Infinity Edge is one of them. You will get a ton of flat attack damage, and that's really it. So it is very, very good. The better items that you can try to get are the ones that are going to concentrate onto one single stat line. Just a little bit of Ornn tech for you guys at home. But I'm coming back to this game. The NIP grabbing that dragon is such a big win. I mean, finding that pick onto about in mid lane, grabbing all of those kills. It's the only shining light I see for WE is that they didn't give up this mid-tier 1. But even that is relative. Speaking of, goodbye.
Yep, it is gone.
Okay.
As the pieces are starting to come online for NIP, and what a turnaround it would be. I mean, you got to remember, for both these two teams, they've faced 2 times, obviously double round robin, both times going the distance, both times going to 3 games, and both of them coming away with 1-1 series scoreline against each other. And so to change that narrative, if NIP are able to kind of drive this home, would be a little bit of a shocker towards the end of the season, or at least the end of the regular season.
Would also mean that WE in their last 2 have gone 0-4, which is a little yikes going into our Knights Rivals play-in tournament. So need to see a win from them. That EDG series at the end of the season gave us very little hope, but we were thinking maybe they could turn it around with a little bit of time in between them and the tiebreaker that they would have had to play. I mean, NIP, I mean, they're looking decent, all right? Like, they're 4-0 because somehow in the schedule they played WE twice before they played one series versus Thunder Talk. Thank you, LPL admins, for that one. But they have the exact opposite. They're 4-0 right now, and if they 2-0 WE, they go 6-0 at the end of the season. That's pretty good.
It's pretty crazy. Little thing here, Actualizer got completed.
Oh, okay,
by
GG.
Care. And now he can go GG. Super Saiyan for just about 8 seconds.
So what are we looking at? So Monki blast coned over.
Quickness got popped by Yaoyao. They're just going to take a 4-man there with the clone, and now Guwon just unleashes hell onto WE. They've got nothing left to give. It is out. The clock has hit midnight. It is doomsday for WE.
Well, I said that the Actualizer being completed and a level 17 rise was probably going to be an FF point for WE. And while it wasn't only him, the rest of NIP really rallied behind the massive spike in power that we see from them. They're going to take a Baron here at 27 minutes, and there's going to be a Dragon in 45. So this game is starting to come to a close. WE's window to try to win this game is being slammed in front of them. And what a great fight. I mean, this is precipitated right before this play. Monki lost his flash. Yaoyao's trying to find and engage. This quickness is completely useless in this fight. Massive ultimate from Hoya. Tagged that alongside Assum with the Deadly Flourish and the Curtain Call. And in namesake alone, this game is closed out now. NIP have looked like the more consistent team throughout the season and are going to be rewarded for their performance with a first place in Group Perseverance.
Monki's time to death was definitely the exact same as the amount of time he was stunned for. That man did not get to touch his keyboard that entire fight, and that's a little bit of a microcosm of what has been going a little bit wrong for WE so far. That next dragon falls again to NIP 2 in a row. Zhuo does save himself for the time being, maybe trying to bait in WE. Another backline entrance by Guwon. Here comes the Orange Horn as well on top of it. Guwon is down, but Hoya is still kicking. You've got damage from Assum and Care as well. That is still going to be a couple picks, though, going back to WE. Cube has just decided I'm going to get gold somewhere else, guys.
I think this has an official term in the community. It's called rage splitting. So that brother knows. Okay, well, he's Ornn. He's going to be in these team fights. I'm going to try to generate some gold for myself and see if I can be useful. 3 items on Rumble is good, but your base being blown up isn't as important, I would say. NIP are just ravaging WE in these fights, picking them apart on side lanes. Yet again, this Ryze is near unkillable by himself. Demolish procs and these Baroned up minions.
Gold.
Yeah. It just doesn't matter, right? Like he's up all this gold, and that if it wasn't for him, it would be a 5,000 gold lead here for NIP.
At least it's a little something to write home about, I guess. As yeah, 4th item very close. We now have that Seeker's arm guard for Care. It's going to make him even more proficient in these next fights as well. And it's just something for NIP that feels really good, but for WE it feels so bad. Like, it feels like you were trying to emulate that style that made WE so lethal in the past, and especially now last year. But it hasn't been working, especially for the last 2, to kind of sputter in the end. What kind of confidence does that give you moving forward into the Knights rivals? And I don't think it's a lot.
It's tough because this was a style that was so good for them in Split 2. And in Split 3, they just completely collapsed, especially in playoffs. WE unable to really lead from the front with their jungler, and now are facing down a pretty sizable lead here. Zhuo's going to take down the turret.
Guwon, a little bit bold here with it. He's going to go forward, and they already get Karis. They get a double kill coming through for Care, making a triple. They want to get a little bit more, but it's the turret that they're going to have to settle for, as Monki will not have anything to say in that fight.
Where is your gold lead, Cube? Where did it go? 2,000 gold lead, and for what? We're going to lose all of our inhibitor turrets. We're going to probably lose this top one. And look at what Hoya's done. He's 1,500 gold down. He says, I don't care. I have Bandle Pipes. I'm here to empower the rest of my team.
They're in the game.
Yeah, I'm here to get first place.
In 1v4 as another FTX emote comes up. WE have lost their fight. They've lost their hope, and NIP rises in their place as they will claim first in group perseverance. Say that again, and make sure you check the facts as NIP take a 2-0 over WE.
And I just want to say, they not only get their first place here in group perseverance, they do it in very, very dominant fashion. These guys completely clap WE. WE does not look like the same team that we were kind of excited for, and that's worrisome because now we're going to be going into a postseason where I'm looking at the play-ins. They're going to be playing against top esports. That's not good.
It's not going to feel good. not going to feel good. Because, again, now we can open up that conversation of, like, why that matters and what was happening. Top esports started firing away some of the biggest wins of the split towards the end of their season. And IG had sputtered so much, it just felt like there was no life in that team. So when you're looking at that Knights rivals, and yes, it's a different change of atmosphere, it's a different change of the series style as well, but you can take a little bit of that hint of what's going on with both those teams. And I think there was definitely a favored outcome here if you want to try to make that run through those Knights rivals.
Now, if I am going to be charitable to WE, at the end of the day, and we say this for literally every other team, if you want to be the best, you're going to have to beat every team. It doesn't matter if you're going to do this. So for WE, it's going to be tough, but if there is ever a way we're going to see this team improve, it is going to have to be playing against better teams. And so while top esports, we have seen be the better team out of the 2 Ascend teams that are going to be playing in the play-ins, I think that if there's ever a time we're going to see them actually improve, it's going to be in that best of 5. This has to be the moment they show. And the best part about this is, regardless of their performance here tonight, regardless of what they did in the regular season, it can all be written away by just making Group Ascend. And they'll have 2 chances to do that in the bracket.
And again, that comes with better scrims, better opponents, more time. Like it comes with so many caveats and so many benefits as well there, that you really have to think about that moving forward. Because we saw what happened to some teams last year where the format was a little bit different, that weren't getting a lot of games. It didn't go so well, if you want to say that. So really nice to see. Obviously still a lot to go. Couple days rest, couple days turnaround for these teams to try to get that going together. But the biggest benefit for them is that they will be starting in that kind of double round, or at least double elimination section for them. So they will have those 2 lives. Something to think about moving forward. But also important to say that NIP might be good. Like Guwon was looking good. Zhuo was looking good.
I'll take it. I will take it. Look, by any means necessary.
Any means necessary.
We're gonna get this team. We're gonna get this team in. Now, obviously, this is a very dominant. I mean, this looks very similar to Game 1. Like, if you only looked at the gold graphs, it isn't as big of a lead here for NIP once they started to get in the lead. But generally speaking, they stayed in the lead once they got there. And we talked about at the very beginning of the show, WE's early games are terrible. They always are down at least some amount of gold. On average, they're down 600. That actually got reversed as we got towards the end of the season because they were down 1,500 gold in every single game almost at the beginning. So they made some progress. But again, like, this play about is nowhere nearby. And yes, Karis does make a few mistakes, but I think Monki, whether it is a communication issue or it is just a lack of synergy, they are not playing on the same page. And that is creating problems for this team where they cannot keep a gold lead and they have to rely on essentially outplaying their opponents at objective fights, which is really, really dangerous to do when you are down gold consistently.
Yeah, and it also comes back to some of those forward advances for Monki. I think when some of the best moments for WE last year were off of the back of Monki, and not to see that, or at least to see that disconnection, is really disconcerting here for him, because I do feel like he has the potential to be a very strong jungler in the LPL.
He proved it last year. I mean, we were talking about this guy as potential MVP candidate, right? Like, just for his team alone, he looked incredible. He was the primary mover and shaker for this, and he wasn't even the starting jungler at the beginning of the year, which is just crazy, right? He comes in, he saves this team from essentially just going from mediocre and being a nobody team for the most of the year, and we were really hyping up this team as potentially having one of the best second years as a project. Coming in, you had a new bottom lane. We didn't know how Yaoyao was going to look, and after a rough Demacier Cup, he really started to turn it around. Now it feels like it's not him anymore. It's not just Yaoyao. It is actually Monki who is creating some issues for this team.
Yeah, it definitely seems so, and just hopefully they can get some of that disconnection together. But love to see another performance from Zhuo's Bard. Love to see all the pieces come together. And this comp was pretty spicy. Like, it's one of those ones where, yes, if you get behind, things go a little bit tough for you. You don't have enough damage and things along those lines. But I think they used their tools very well in this one.
Oh, yeah. Just the execution of it was really clean, and that's what I liked. I think that NIP, they knew what their objective was. Obviously, it's going to be a blow up in Nexus, but let's scale. WE have shown that they're not able to play competent enough early games, so let's pick some champions that are going to give us some leverage later on, champions that are also going to be independent. Hoya, doesn't matter if you get killed in the top lane. You're playing Ornn, for crying out loud. And again, stop playing Arcane Comet, brothers. Stop it. No more Arcane Comet Rumble. If you're against Cassante, take the first strike. If you're playing against Ornn, take the first strike. Stop it.
First strike is the lesson. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff from NIP. I don't know how their run of show is going to be working, but usually we don't get the player of the game. So, but it is an online match, so they won't technically maybe have interviews. They might still have interviews. But I guess we can take a little bit of time, buy a little bit of time at least, with your final thoughts on the regular season for LPL. What you're looking forward to going into nice rivals.
I'm just excited to have best of fives, man.
Me too.
now that we are in Fearless as the predominant format for the year, best of fives are where it's at. We've seen so many exciting best of fives just last year alone domestically, and so I think this is really where we get to see whether or not the cream of the crop rises and what kind of chaff ends up falling off. This is going to be our play-ins tournament. This will start on the 9th. And again, these are going to be double best of 5 days for 3 days in a row. And then we'll have a little bit of break before we get into play-ins, or the playoffs. I mean, I'm looking at these matchups. TS versus WE is going to be a very tough bout, but again, they'll have the lower bracket for either of these. Immediately qualifying yourself in as potentially a 5th seed, I think, is exciting enough. But that IG NIP matchup, man, that's going to be really, really fun.
I think so. I just want to see, please, rookie, do good.
If rookie, player of the game, Zhuo?
He had some pretty nasty moves. I'm not going to lie. He had some really good advances. He had some really good connections there with Guwon as well. And those tempered fates, pretty nice.
They were good. Now, player of the series, I still think goes over to Guwon. I think Guwon had a fantastic night today. He completely cleared Monki, and coming in, he had a fairly negative skew from us here on the broadcast. So I'm really excited whether or not NIP actually have legs to stand on. Oh my god, I can't believe in the year of our Lord 2026, I'm talking about Care versus Rookie is potentially an even matchup, or maybe favored NIP. That is crazy to think.
It's fine. It's fine. That's just how things are. The world changes. The LPL changes. We just have to get used to it. That's what happens. What's your bet on if we actually get the player of the match?
It's Guwon.
Yay! Dude, he got it.
Wow. Okay, so you guys didn't see this, but in the last game when we were talking about his thresh, it was 7 out of 8 votes going to Guwon, and the 1 vote that was left over was for Zhuo. Now, he did have a very big impact on this game number 1. Game number 2, I think the Bard was okay, but hey, he got himself a player of the match. So I'm not too biased against that. I think he has had a really good time here, and this team is significantly more cohesive than what we saw in JDG. So if he has a glow up very similar to Vampire, I think this is a big come up for him.
All right. Well, that being said, that's it for our regular season, at least. That means we're getting into playoffs now. That means we're getting into Knights Rivals. We're getting into the thick of things in this first split. In a first split where across the world, championship points were lowered, or the kind of need to win in first split were lowered. Here, we got raised a little bit. We got a little bit more ante to it, and I'm really interested to see how much that kind of extra pressure provides for these teams. A lot of teams who are still having breaks from big members on the teams and really wanting to kind of prove out and find spots for themselves going into that second split, a little bit of a longer split. But before we get going, we got to give a big shout out to our Elite Coffee supporters before everything is said and done and before the end of our regular season. So thank you so very much to Aaron, Soup, and Mung. Obviously, a lot of help to the broadcast itself goes to paying for so many things behind the scenes and all the people on your screen and behind the screen. It takes a lot of volunteers to make this run. It's been an incredible 4 weeks of the regular season. It has been fast. It has been wild. It's so insane to see so many of these stories kind of combining, and a lot of the same hierarchy of the LPL still being at that point. Any final thoughts, any final words before we get going out?
Guys, February 9th. Please tune in. We're going to get playoffs. We're going to get best of fives. Please tap in on the LPL English community Discord. We're going to have all pro votes. Those are going to lock up tomorrow, 5 p.m. The 8th, February 8th, 5 p.m. PST. So make sure if you want to get in on that, you got to go to vote. You got to get to the polls. So make sure you're going in and submitting your votes for all of the all pros, and you can vote for MVP of the split. So yeah, just make sure you guys are tuning in. It is awesome to see you guys day in, day out, whether it is for a single series or for all 4 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, thanks for coming for the bonus day of LPL. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in just a couple days for 2 more best of fives and the Knights Rivals part of the play-in playoffs. We'll see you there.